Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Adam and Clint here as we are weekly in the off season as we try and round the circuit back to April or May or wherever your racing season starts here in Ontario, where we're from. I wonder where our farthest viewer would be from. Like how different their season would be than ours. But how you doing, Adam?
I'm all right. We're all in the same place, Clinton. When it comes to what we do, we're all sitting in front of our device, our tablet, our laptop, our computer, our TV, whatever it happens to be. So we're all in the same spot through the miracle of technology.
Yeah, so the miracle of technology, we're going to have both Lapcevich brothers on tonight, probably simultaneously, to fight, hopefully. We hope we get 2 Christmases with them, too, which would be awesome. Then Dan Bailey from Epic Raceware is going to come on, talk a bit about the raceware business, some of the other stuff they offer, but mainly to talk about PRI, Adam, and maybe why racers should go there, why Epic Raceware is investing the money to spend the weekend in Indianapolis at PRI, and what can be gained by it. Then we're going to have our Ontario resident sprint car guru, Daryl Turford, stop by. Daryl's been on the road with all the major tours. He's going to stop by to talk about some of the stuff going on with his podcast, The Drivers Project, that he's got going on. You might have seen some of the stuff coming down the Facebook pipe lately. They were taking some big pictures at the World Finals and getting them out to go with some podcasting stuff. And when I talked to Daryl yesterday, I believe he was talking to some big-name guys that they were editing. So we'll talk about his podcast and just how the rule changes at the top level of sprint cars are eventually going to shake down the 360, and why Daryl, myself, and others like us are not in favor of where the high limit series is going with the rule package, and we'll discuss that as we can. We'll just have some bench racing fun. Burger Barn videos of the week, as always. Well, our weekend Banquet Friday, Adam, are you ready?
No, absolutely not.
What do you have to do anyways other than show up?
See, I used to have things to do. I used to have, not that I had input, but we would give opinions, and then I'd get all butt hurt because my opinion didn't hold any weight. I'll take it easy on him, Johnny. We appreciate you being here. In recent years, you'll notice I haven't gotten as involved in the lead up to the banquet, and I've been in a much better mood going into it.
Okay.
So, and it sounds counterproductive, but it's like Christmas morning. I don't want to know what's in all the boxes. I want it to be a surprise. So I will show up there, and when we read some of these awards, I will be as surprised as the people winning.
All right, I'll let you go with that. But you do know you were included on the 10-person group who votes on the awards, and you just chose to abort the whole thing, right?
I don't look at those emails. I felt badly. I felt bad when you told me that I hadn't put in my 2 cents, and then when you told me how many other people didn't chime in, I thought, wow, that's not good. But
most people did chime in at the end. You still didn't send me anything. Let's change the subject, though. We'll be all right. Banquet season is like audit season for me. It's let's just say I cannot wait for Saturday morning to be here. It is so much stress, man. I think it's bigger stress for me than anything we do in the year. It's just like, who are you going to leave out? Who are you going to forget? Switching it up, though. Been a bummer week for me. Lot of shit going on in the racing world. A lot of shit. Can't really talk about too much of it yet. Hopefully next Tuesday we can talk about all of it. But remember that thing, Adam, I told you lately that I think I'm going psychic? Like the other day, I was telling you I was thinking about somebody, and then they called me. And then
yes,
I don't want to name drop, but I was watching the Schrader thing, and then he called me to talk about scheduling as I'm watching him on the screen, and I'm like, wow, man, that is witchy shit. Jonathan Arts, who I haven't seen or heard from, just commented. And Jonathan is a big player at Delaware. And I hadn't talked about Jonathan probably or thought of him since the day we stood on the front stretch at Delaware and had a good chat with him the last race of our coverage here at Delaware. I was talking about John Arts today. How weird is that he shows up on the show tonight with a comment right off the bat? So I'm feeling a little witchy. How I was talking about Jonathan Arts was I had I guess you call it an exit meeting with Mike Morris today. It was a sad day for me.
Yes.
Mike Morris did a hell of a job in sales for Rush Weekend Speedway last year. Um, in the multiple hundreds of deals, I got his lead sheet today. Over 700 line items on his spreadsheet. Like, this guy worked his balls off, and I'm sad to say he's gone back in retirement. We kind of chewed him up, and he had enough of us. But Mike, I appreciate everything you do. I got to show you, Adam. I came home today, and this is what Mike's workload looked like for the year. These are all pages. These are all signed contracts from 2024 that Mike sold for Rush Weekend Speed. That's a phone book of signed deals. Who else had deals like that in Ontario for short track? I don't know.
I'll tell you, Mike Morris is a throwback. He's an old school salesperson, and there is nobody working in sales anymore that works like Mike Morris does.
No, I'll give you that. Mike, we miss you. Hopefully this makes your Wednesday lunch hour a little bit better and gives you a smile. Mike didn't need to do it. You know, he didn't need the job. He came in with passion and said, hey, I think I can help you guys out. Man, did he ever get us on a great sales track? Now we got to fill some great voids. Unfortunately, it's going to take three people to do what Mike did. I'm quite confident that, you know, unless another Superman struts in my door and says, I'm your guy, or Supergirl, I don't want to be sexist, but I don't know how we get through it, but we're going to have to figure that out. So, sad week for me. Mike, we appreciate everything you did for us. But it's just weird that Jonathan Art's messages today, and here we are. Or I was talking about John today, and here we are. I hope you're doing well, sir. What else do we have to talk about, Adam? We talked a little bit about, well, Caden's here, so we'll bring Caden on. And Trayton's here, too. I see them both. I thought that was Dan Bailey hanging out in the corner, but he's not here yet. All right, bring the Lapcevich boys on. Oh, boy. How's it going? First off, where are you located? Caden, you go first, then Trayton. Where are you guys sitting today?
I'm at home in Mooresville. Just got done work, rolled in the door, and it's time to do a show.
Trayton, where are you at?
I'm at my apartment in Toronto for school.
All right. Adam, you're up.
Trayton, you even look studious. Like sitting there, the two of you side by side, knowing that you both came from the same parents. You look like the student, and Caden looks like he's put in an honest day's work already. I'm not going to lie. So, what's going on, folks? I wanted to get the Lapcevich boys on together. It would have been a hoot to get all three of the boys together. We want to get you riled up against each other, and I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to do that. Caden, what will get you irritable about your... Okay, Ryden's here in the chat. Oh, Ryden's on his way back from getting Caden's car ready. Who put the setup in the car, Caden? Is this a Ryden Lapcevich special, or did he have strict instructions from his older brother?
It's kind of a joint effort between me and Taylor. But one thing Ryden is very good at is he loves to hold stuff over your head, and it might be the littlest thing, but he's very good at it. Like it'll be something that was, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and he'll bring it up. Like I've long forgot about that now, and he still seems to remember it. But I guess I shouldn't say it gets me riled up, but it's something that it's kind of annoying, I guess we'll say.
What is the plan for the Snowball Derby weekend, guys? Trayton, maybe you can jump in here. What is the plan for you? And then Caden, we'll touch on your deal with Taylor here in a minute.
Yeah, we're headed back down with our own car that we debuted there last year. So really excited to get back there. I felt like there was some certain areas where we might have been lacking, like in the mechanical side of things, just, being our first super late model race in that and kind of being a rush deal to get everything together. So this year we're coming with the guns fully loaded, and so I'm really excited to see what we got. Definitely built a pretty good notebook last year that hopefully we can apply and build on this year as well. So we're headed down for testing, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. Hopefully learn some stuff in testing there. Get the car good in qualifying trim, because that's important, and then work on race trim a little bit too.
Trayton, did you do more testing in 2024 than you've ever done in your career?
Yes, we did a lot of testing this year. There was a lot of these car store tracks that we're going to were obviously new to me. Well, most of them, with the exception of about one. So, and testing just it's kind of it's a really big thing down there. It's not regulated in the car store at all. There's no testing restrictions. You can test up until the day before the race. And all these teams and these guys down there, they're all doing it for a full-time deal. So everyone's in it to win. So a lot of testing going on. And then on top of that too, tests we're doing ourselves. There's always a test the Friday before the car store races too. So yeah, definitely a lot more testing this year than I've ever done before. I think it's definitely helped me a lot too. It allows me to focus on myself and learning the cars and the tracks. And you don't get a lot of time to do that on race day, so it's definitely a big help. Practices on race day are relatively quick, and just not a whole lot of time to focus on the driver and getting that line dialed in.
Caden, what's your plan for the snowball? We talked a bit about Taylor Holdaway's deal. That worked out pretty good for you. Maybe explain how that deal came together and what made you guys decide to make what is going to be a fairly expensive trip. Like, to come from where they are here in Ontario to go to Snowball Derby in Pensacola, Florida is not cheap, even just to tow the thing there.
No, so it was kind of a late deal that came together. The initial plans for myself was, I had planned on trying to go run it, regardless of, whose car I was in. I was trying to take my own car. That was the plan, but I got into this thing probably a little bit over my head as I started building it and, gathering parts and pieces to do it. At the time we were really busy on the ARCA side still too, and it was going to be a lot. After me and Taylor did that deal at Delaware, we obviously ran pretty good there. I think we would have been in contention for that one. And jokingly after the race, I said something about it like, hey, let's go do the Derby. And, they kind of looked at me like, oh, man, you're crazy. Like, this isn't worth it, blah, blah, blah. And fast forward probably a couple weeks later after that, I reached out to Taylor again, and I kind of had a come to Jesus moment one morning and woke up and was like, yeah, like it's going to take a lot for me to get my own stuff done. So reached out to Taylor. We've worked out, a plan, how to get the motor up to him, parts and pieces we were going to need to do it. There's a lot that goes into the Derby, obviously. So we're testing Saturday. We're going to spend the week there. We'll be able to go over it fully. With me testing Saturday and Trayton testing Sunday, if I learn something and we can apply it to his car, that puts them ahead. And if he learns something on Sunday that we can use on mine, it puts us ahead going into the event. So, really thankful for Taylor, but obviously Ryden's put a big role in this. He spent a lot of time up there helping Taylor and on top of getting Trayton stuff ready. So I feel good about it. If it drives as good as it did at Delaware, I think we'll be really good.
Caden, you had so much success right out of the box. Now you're much older. You're still a freaking young dude. How much more do you appreciate these opportunities? How much more perspective do you have just in life as you're growing older, paying bills, to see how rare these opportunities are?
Yeah, it's anytime I get to sit behind the wheel now, it's a big deal for me. I got to be, I was racing. I was a race car driver when, I was 12, 13, probably up to about the age of 17. I still did quite a bit of racing after that, but now I don't get to do it as much. And as I've moved down south and gotten more involved in it, I see a lot of aspects of it. So anytime I can do it, I appreciate it more. I always say whenever I race, I said, you never know. This might be the last time I do it. So I get hard on myself, but I always try and smile, have a good time because you never know when it might be the last time. So December 8th might be the last time I ever race. If that happens, I'm okay with it because I know I got a pretty promising career ahead of me down here, but hopefully it's not. But yeah, I appreciate any chance I get, and I've been lucky to be paired up with a lot of good people, and Taylor and Sean and his whole family and crew, like they're another example of that. So they're working their tails off for me, and I'm gonna go give it all I got for them.
Trayton, you buy this bullshit that December 8th is going to be his last race ever?
No,
I don't.
no, no. He could. You know what? Like he says, he's got a career on the wrenching on him side of things now, but I know he can never keep himself out of the seat for that long. So no matter what happens, he'll find a way back in it.
Trayton, going back to your cars deal, when you get into the big business end of things, like I was just talking about buddy Mike Morris, everybody's in budget season right now. So you can't wait till January to decide what your next season's going to be like. When you start talking about that, where are you in the cycle for next year right now with your career?
Yeah, we're in the middle of it right now. Now is kind of crunch time for it. So hopefully we'll have a better idea of what next year is going to look like really soon. Kind of right now, the only thing I can really say about it is that there's many different things being tossed up, and just hoping everything kind of works out right. I'm really lucky to have some great supporters backing me. Going to have the same sponsors returning next year of IRM and the bare knuckle fighting championships. So really excited about that. It's really promising for the future of our partnership that we have together. Not really sure where I'm going to end up, what I'm going to end up doing right now next year, but like I said, it's all in the works right now, and hopefully we'll know more pretty soon.
Trayton, similar to what I asked Caden, we shouldn't take lightly that you're at one of the more prestigious business schools in the country. As you get older and start to learn more about how the world works, and does it change the way you look at the business of racing?
Yeah, I like you said, I think the business side of racing is almost bigger than the racing side of it now. So that's just kind of how it works. I think we're all kind of really lucky that growing up, my parents did a lot for us, but they also made us work really hard for it. And I think that was something that kind of instilled that in us at a very young age, and then we're building on it now. So if you want to get something, if you want something, you're gonna have to work pretty hard for it. And I think that's what we've all been doing, and trying to get to the point where we are now. So I'm pretty thankful to have the opportunities that I've had, and the opportunities that are leading up into the future as well.
Caden, what's going on with the ARCA deal? It's pretty awesome being able to do that. Right? For all of us who are intimately in, you doing that again? And if so, like, when does that? I guess you guys are already into all that prep, right?
Yeah, so that deal kind of never stops, right? So ultimately, the second week and into January, you're back at Daytona testing. ARCA West fires off the third week of January at Kern. So that whole deal there's never really a quiet season. But right now I am I actually parted ways with Venerini on Friday. Got some stuff into the works, but I feel like now was a good time to do that. There's a lot going on down here that I'm not really obligated to say anything about. So I feel like I have a good opportunity that I'll release here soon, and still in ARCA, dabbles in some truck stuff. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to progress in my career and be able to take me to the next level.
What does an ARCA car compare the most close to, Caden?
Canadian wise, I mean, it's fairly
No,
similar, or just in general.
in the NASCAR, in terms of moving up the ladder, truck, Xfinity, or Cup.
Um, yeah, I think obviously the next step is trucks. There's that progression to where I feel like it's like ARCA, trucks, Xfinity Cup. I feel like that's the path that I want to take, and that's kind of the path I'm pursuing here right now. So I think the objective for this next deal that I'm gonna do is to be a truck crew chief in 2026 with it's a pretty prominent team. So I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's a good step for me, and the only way to get better is to go do it. So I'm excited for this jump I'm about to make, and I think it'll be big.
Oh, is Clint muted?
Caden, how we go? Got me now? Caden, let's talk about that. Caden, we'll get to you in 1 second. But Caden, how tough is it for you when you have a lot of like rental drivers coming into these deals? You're trying to perform as a crew chief, but you've got kids with money coming in. They're getting these opportunities. I guess it's double fast. How do you deal with it? And two, do you feel like you're getting a fair shake when, like, are they taking a step back and looking at you and be like, all right, well, that wasn't a crew chief issue. That was a new driver issue. Like, it's got to be difficult when you just have these rental programs you have to deal with at times.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's obviously I've been pretty lucky to have the same driver for 2 years now. So I never really had to deal with that side of it. But I think in the aspect that I was dealing with is like, as long as I brought good race cars to the racetrack, and we knew that, as long as it stayed together, it performed well, like it did everything it was supposed to, the attitude looked good of it and everything, it always, from the ownership side of it, I was always told that, we just need to work on the driver a little bit more. So, and that part of it kind of sucks because, you're bringing good race cars to the racetrack that are, and the same cars that are equal are going and winning races and stuff like that. So it's kind of tough at times, but you get, I got a different driver for a couple West races this year, and we were able to go up front, race up front, and compete and stuff like that. So that's what gives me, the excitement that I am able to do this. I know what I'm doing, and I feel like I put good race cars on the racetrack. So it's tough, especially. And the other part that it gets tough is that when you have so many different people in a car, there's a communication barrier there. So working with somebody every week is different. Trying to break down different feedbacks and how drivers give it is hard, which I feel like I do a good job at because I'm a racer. So I'm able to break down what they're saying and stuff. So that makes it a little bit easier for me, but it is tough at times because people say things different ways, and you gotta think of it on the fly. So you don't have much time, and it's just it's, I guess, it keeps your brain going constantly.
Okay, let's get to some important stuff. What's the best fight there's ever been in the Lapcevich house?
You should see Trade and Ryden go at it. That shit gets good sometimes.
What were they fighting about? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It's always some bullshit. Like it's over something stupid, and they just get going at each other, and it is the funniest thing to watch.
The worst part that ever, or probably not the worst part, the worst thing that ever happened in our family was us all having a pretty good understanding about how the geometry of a race car works and how the different suspension parts operate. Because anytime we go to a track, even if it's not, even if Cade's not racing with me or I'm not racing with him, or we're not even at the same track, or, now riding too, there's always an argument about what does what and what adjustments to make no matter what. So that's always a big one in our family. I'm sure a lot of that's going to happen at the Snowball Derby when we're both there in, the same division, same classic cars. So there's probably going to be a lot of arguments, but I guess it's a good thing that we're all learning together though too.
I'm pretty sure we have a weekly argument about right front bump springs.
that happens a lot too.
I was just gonna ask, who's the best racer? That should get you fighting, right? Like, who's the best driver in the family? But I'll
Well,
give you an out. I'll
like
give you an out.
if you look at the stats of when I won my Pinty Series championship, I was younger, so like that just tops it all for me.
There is an interesting stat though that was courtesy of Joel Robinson. Caden and I both won in our exact same Pinty number of starts, and we had the exact same average finish leading up to that point. So that one's hard to argue with. So I you know what, I'm not even going to take the upper hand on this one with the 9 wins total. I'll just say that it's pretty equal between the two.
Honestly, I think Ryden's probably better than both of us.
Given the opportunity, would Jay wipe the floor with all of you?
I don't think Mom would let her.
I don't think so either. I think that's gonna be she might, but she might be able to bring in the most sponsorship, I'll tell you that. But who knows if she'll get in one.
I think that Joel stat is like the referee. Mom's yelling that from the kitchen. Remember what Joel said? You guys are equal. Well, boys, thanks so much. I mean, Adam, anything else you want to get them fighting over before we leave?
No, thanks for coming on, guys. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck in Florida. And Caden, good luck with whatever your next step is. That's exciting stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
We'll be a pain in your ass as long as you're doing good stuff out on the scene, boys. Thanks for your time, always.
Hey, Clint?
Yeah.
They're used to coming on the show when they both have a mastery of the delay. You notice that? They don't jump on anything. They know. Just that quick. That was impressive.
It was good. Good times with the boys. And Ryden, he's got a career. We got to talk to him a bit more. Our next guest is ready to come on. Big sport of Osh Week and big sport of the Ontario scene and big sport of G-Force. Dan Bailey from Epic Racewear is going to join us. Dan, welcome to the show with your cool background. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you guys doing?
Good, Dan. We brought you on to talk a little bit about PRI. When I see your email now, you have it even tagged at the bottom. Come see us at the PRI. You have your vendor booth there. For a Canadian company involved in motorsports, why is the PRI show? And for those who don't know, performance racing industry, the biggest motorsports vendor show in the world. All the racers go from every genre, from your local guy right up to the biggest pros you could ever imagine are all gathered in Indy in early December. Dan, why does Epic Racewear spend the major investment it takes to go there for a week, spend the money on a booth? Is it worth your return?
I hope so. This is attempt number 1. I've gone as a visitor for the past 3 years now, and it's Motorama on steroids times 1,000. It's all racing. It's got nothing to do with performance cars per se. You won't see rot rods. You won't see any of that stuff. Everything is racing. You can source and buy everything as a racer from a valve stem to full motors and the machinery you need to build everything. I've seen Glenn down there, and he spends his time in machinery row. He, buying CNC machines, or in the trailer arena. It's 750,000 square feet of vendors, and there's I think 65 to 100,000 visitors through a 3-day period. It's crammed.
What made you decide to take that jump this year?
Just the connections that we've made. We partnered with the NHRA in the US and Canada this year. We were on Alex Stryler's sponsorship panel, and we'd met him down there. We also connected with the International Council of Motorsport Sciences. They are down there, and it's about the handshakes and the introductions for us. We're definitely hoping to have a lot of walkthrough traffic. But as with anything, I prepare and kind of make sure that we're, I'll say, safe or well prepared before we get down there. I think if not a person stopped in the booth, it's still going to be a successful trip for us.
Dan, when a racer shows up to a show like that, Is that a good time to be making suit deals? What's the big thing a racer's missing when they're buying a suit here?
Well, it is for PRI. The timing as well. I know Triton was talking about budgets and how they're deep in it now, and it's true. We have a NASCAR presence, but we don't have a NASCAR presence in the top 15 teams. So our teams are usually not prepared. They're trying right now, but they're not getting anything, not getting anywhere. So a lot of the times it's difficult for the guys that we deal with, but as we're getting on into the year, a lot of the guys need to come to us as soon as possible. When they come to a show, I know down there they seem to have everything in order. I was speaking to a couple of guys in the Simpson booth, and they will sell between 300 to 400 suits that weekend. I'm not expecting a tenth of that. That's we're not known as well as Simpson is, especially in that genre. But being prepared for the suit process is important. We're very flexible. We can do something not last minute, but as time goes on, we're a lot more flexible than some of the other larger companies that do 10 times our business, of course. But it's important. We went to the Stoddy Motorsports kind of trade event last weekend and spoke to a number of guys, and they're at least in line now. They've come to us and said, hey, we want to get started. We took their measurements, we go through the design, and then if it's just a matter of popping on a couple of logos towards the end, they're not coming to me in March saying I need my suit May 1st.
So a few tips for people if you've never been to the PRI show, plan your trip. And I will ask you this, are you guys staying close to the venue?
Yes, we're straight across the street, so it's a 3-minute walk kind of thing. This trade show is incredibly organized. There's an entire show planner for all of the vendors. I mean, there's a checklist of probably 75 items that need to be ticked off in preparation. And one thing that I've had to consider, of course, is going across a border with not inventory, but just display product. At PRI, you don't sell product. You can take advanced orders, but the volume of people, you wouldn't be able to handle the amount of product that you could potentially need.
Yeah, it's mainly just showing off. It's an awesome spot. It shows off the latest and greatest products they've got out there from every industry. I mean, some of the stuff we'll be talking about with Daryl Turford coming up, that all stuff generates there at PRI. Dan, coming up in Canada here, off season, everybody thinks guys like you and I sit around and do nothing in the off season. This is when it really happens, the magic. What are you working on the most these days other than prep for PRI?
Product development. We're looking at going into FIA certification. We ventured into road racing this year. That's an important thing for us. I believe a large market that's been untapped. I've been an oval track guy all my life, so I didn't really have any appreciation of road racing, but it's a large market. So yeah, we're looking at FIA and product development. Custom car covers, pit box covers, stuff like that. We've got coming out. You'll see that very soon. But mainly our focus, as always, is grassroots racing. I know we've branched out into the larger divisions and markets, but those markets are to improve our not our stronghold, but our footprint in the grassroots racing. That's where we started. That's where we're going to stay. And any of the technologies that we get, we want to bring to the small track racer first and foremost.
Hey, can I offer you some advice, Dan, that you didn't ask for?
Yeah.
Make sure you got a $50 bill in your pocket when you show up, because the lineup to unload your vehicle into the venue could be 8 hours long, and those security guards, they can be bought.
Yeah.
You That's think fair. I'm joking? Don't show up.
No, I believe you. We are actually going down Monday. We've got meetings each and every night before and after the show. But yeah, like I say, is going to be a major event. That's for sure. They've got strong maps. They've got a map that everybody has to follow. They have procedures, but I'll make sure I have a green 50 in my pocket, not a red one. They won't know what that is.
Dan, one last question for you. What can fans or, friends, family of racers, what can they order now and get for Christmas for their racers before we let you go?
Now you could probably still get a suit right now, but you can certainly get T-shirts or Nomex underwear or crew shirts or any of the subsidiary things, tents, any of that stuff for sure. A fire suit, it's a little more custom, but any of the generic products that we sell, absolutely.
Right on, Dan. We'll see you Friday at the Ush Weekend Banquet. Thanks for coming on, talking to us about it, and we wish you the best in Indy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Dan Bailey from Epic Racewear, everybody. The official apparel of G-Force TV and Ush Weekend Speedway. And I got to say, this is not an epic shirt, but this is an epic team. Kudos to the Bills, Fran. Taking down those Chiefs.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to throw it out there. But
no, that was awesome. Clinton.
Go ahead.
I'm not even joking. There were years that we were at PRI. I won't mention the company that I was working for. And the staging area is hundreds and hundreds of trucks long trying to get in and unload. We'd be in the bar like 3 sheets to the wind because we paid off the security guards, got everything in, and we were done for the day, where other people sat out there in the elements for a long, long time.
Never hurts to grease a palm here. Let's jump in. Daryl Turford standing by. Daryl has been working on a podcast project, the Drivers Project it's called. Daryl, thanks for coming on with us. And Daryl, I saw your comments last week when High Limit announced some rule changes. The big one is the bleeder rule. And for our asphalt fans watching, they're now going to allow these sprint car guys to pretty much have a pump. And this is where I like to put on my manager's hat and call my ignorance to the front. But they have a pump in the axle, a mini pump. That's if your tire bleeds out too much or you lose a couple PSI, it'll pump it up to the precise. Now, is this the right thing or the wrong thing for sprint cars? Now, we bitch about clutches and starters, and now we're putting air pumps and axles? Where are we going with this?
To be honest, I understand why they did it. The bleeder is about the only thing on a race car that we allow to be subpar. For years, guys were coming in and couldn't get their tires regulated, their air pressures regulated. And at first we had like these $20 bleeders, and then we had these Conroy bleeders that were about $220 American. And they were unreliable at best. So the Swindell bleeder really did need to be created, but we didn't need it created at $1,400 American a pop. And the Swindell bleeder had a massive problem, and that was if you had a long yellow or a red, the bleeder would bleed down. And say you set your air pressure at like 8 pounds, you might have your air pressure fall to 5 pounds. And then on restarts on tracks where you had like a cushion, it could be pretty dangerous driving in on a cushion with only 5 pounds of air in your right rear tire. So that's allegedly why this pump got brought in, was to help under the yellows and reds. And I don't have a problem with it per se. The idea of what they're fixing is good. But by the time you're done, you've got 2,500 US in the whole system. I mean, people will try to tell you lower numbers, but that's just not true. And the reality is, at that point, I think we should just run no bleeders. Everything in sprint car racing is moving towards costing people more money. It's becoming very obvious across the sprint car scene that there's becoming a greater divide between the rich teams and the poor teams. And like I say, this does fix the issue, but the cost to me is too much versus just not running bleeders and just dealing with it. I can give you 2 examples of the bleeders letting us down, actually the Conroy bleeders that happened at Oshweekend. in 2017, Clinton doesn't know it, but we had to buy new bleeders for Sam to run the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. And when you buy new ones, especially the Conroys, it was very touchy. Usually you need like a few races to figure out what they like and they don't like. So we sent, as you guys know, we send one guy up for the Canadian Nationals to send the guys out on the front stretch. Well, I'd actually been working on Parker's car, and that was the year Parker blew the tire in the B main coming to the line. And I just came up to give Sam a fist bump, and I could hear that his bleeder was bleeding his tire flat. So at the last second, I borrowed someone's screwdriver. I did a bunch of scrambling, and Clinton, you were yelling at me to get off the track because it was time to clear everyone off the track. But to us, it was life or death. Well, that was pre the electronic bleeder, so I had to guess where to put the setting. And I ended up guessing to where Sam came in at the end of the Canadian Nationals. It was the year Macedo won, but Sam had led early. And we actually came in with 9.9 pounds of air in the right rear, which is a disaster, and our tire was destroyed. And it probably cost us the race. And then the year Christopher Bell came up, again, we had to go with new bleeders, still not electronic bleeders. And we kept having yellows in the first feature of the night Rico won, if you recall. And the tires kept bleeding down, bleeding down, bleeding down. And then eventually it just got so deflated that we just blistered the tire and it finally burnt up and blew up. And that's actually what cost us the first night when Bell drove for us. So the Swindell bleeders were needed to address that problem. But at $1,400 a pop, it was a little extreme. It was not a little extreme, it was a lot extreme. And then this next thing is to deal with restarts, and it does work. Like it's great, to be honest with you, but at $2,500 a pop, you could just say, hey, let's take out the bleeders and not have any of these tire deflating issues.
So to get away from the super specific, who's going to rescue sprint car racing from itself, from all these advances, from these escalating costs, Daryl?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. We used to get really mad when I was on the Outlaw Tour in like 08 to 2010 that the World of Outlaws would come in and they bring in all these rules without talking to us. The flat wing never said a word to us. Goodyear tires, Sam and I basically showed up and it was like, here's your tires. So we'd always thought, man, you got to talk to the drivers. Well, High Limit is the drivers. And now the drivers are being given the opportunity. And to be honest, they're really disappointing me. I don't really see a lot of hope. Usually the voice of reason is typically Knoxville Raceway. But in this case, High Limit is big. And then the other problem you have is the World of Outlaws aren't following any of the rules, so now you have a divide in rules. So to be honest, it's actually a quite depressing situation if you're trying to make sprint cars make sense.
One last specific thing, cockpit adjustments. What are we doing with that? Is that something we should be allowing?
I'm always against this stuff. It gives, like, it's not an extreme cost like the other stuff is. It is an added cost. And I just don't like anything that creates haves and have-nots. It's not some crazy cost that's going to like end a guy, but it is maybe a John Burbridge doesn't run them and now he's lost something to someone else who does have money. Or any low buck guy really. But at the same time, it also helps the smart drivers, and I'm not always opposed to rewarding someone for being intelligent about their race car. So I'm not nearly as hard on the cockpit adjustable shocks. They're not as expensive, but I'd prefer if we didn't. I wouldn't. It's not a hill I'd die on, though.
The All-Stars coming back next year. Is that a big deal?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to say. It's being run by a guy named Rich Farmer, who, if you don't know, he took care of Fremont for a lot of years. And I've never met Rich personally. I don't really know him, but he seems to be a guy that always gets things done. He's not necessarily always the most popular guy amongst the locals, but he seems to get things done. So In terms of someone to lead it, he's probably a good guy to lead it. Like I say, I don't know his personality. I don't know anything about that. I just know that he's always gotten things done, and there really was a void there. I'd like to see like people like Anthony Macri or Brent Marks who are kind of on the fence. I'd really love to see them embrace this series because there really is a need. There's no in between from regional to national, and that's kind of a void that needs to be filled.
Daryl, we know you've got to get over because you have to record your own podcast. Tell us about where we can find it and how some of our viewers can catch some of your sprint car chats.
We're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcasts. It's the Drivers Project. It's myself, Sam Hafertooth, who's run Oshweekend, JJ Hickle, who's run Oshweekend, and Dominic Selzy, who, if you're a drag racing fan, his dad was Gary Selzy, who won several NHRA titles, and he's pretty much an animal. And then sometimes we have Carson McCarl on, who's Terry McCarl's son, and we just bullshit about sprint cars.
Right on. It's the Drivers Project. Make sure you check that out. Daryl, we appreciate your insight. We'll have you on a little bit to talk some exciting stuff coming up, but for now, we appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl.
Man, Daryl's been around for a long time, runs the SOS with his dad, and, he's been up and down the road as a driver himself in the past, and I like when Daryl's fired up because we're spending too much. We need to keep these things in check, so we appreciate his support along those lines. What are we down to? We are down to our Burger Barn videos of the week. We appreciate everybody. Hey, Spencer, did I send you in some retro pics? First, show the picture of Glenn if you can. See if Adam knows where this is. He's gonna, though. Look, he looks like a baby.
Who's that standing next to him?
I don't recall.
That's the front stretch at Cayuga Speedway.
You remember what race it is?
Hooters Cup.
Yeah. I think that's when he drove Gordy Bennett's car in the Hooters Pro Cup series. Man, that was a good series back in the day. Show the picture of Adam now. Oh, we're not throwing out youngins without throwing out one of Adam. Dude.
Wow.
What happened to you? Okay, take note of your shirt size, okay? What the hell was with us? Could we only buy extra large tents? Okay, you're a big dude and you're swimming in that shirt. You go to my picture now. Look at how young Billy Decker is there. Holy shit. Okay, Tim Froller still looks the same. Look at picture of me. And look at me. I got a size large tent on as also.
I think I did buy the shirts that year too, didn't I?
I look like I got your shirt on. All right, that's enough. All right, let's have some fun. Burger Barn Viz of the Week. We appreciate everything Burger Barn does for us, along with Petro Plus, the official fuel supplier of Oshweekend, and everything we do at GeForce TV. We appreciate Jay Hill. Good time to go to the Burger Barn Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Jay wanted me to tell you that. Easy on the weekends, but you can start right in there on a Monday and grab the best lunch or dinner you're ever going to have. Nobody goes away hungry from the Burger Barn. I challenge you.
Before we go to the videos, that's a pretty cool announcement for Johnny Arts, Rhett Jones Racing, running Kyle Steckley and Noah Gregson as teammates at the Derby.
Hey, John.
So, Johnny, can we?
Go ahead. You're probably gonna ask the same thing I
was gonna say, can we count on you to get us some content?
No, I want to produce Noah Gregson next Tuesday. So I'll be texting you, Mr. Arts. All right? So we're going to work that out. Quick Zoom call, 10 minutes. That's all he's got to do for us. Do it for the Canadian sponsors.
Billy Decker and Tim Fuller, Rob.
Yeah, those were Super Dirt Week pictures of Adam and I. Let's see what we got. We got some fans sending some videos of the week. Let's see what we got. What do we got? Oh, yeah. This looks fun. We got to try this, but I'd wreck someone's stuff. Now, is this a toy or is this a simulation? We can't call iRacing a video game. It's a simulation. Now, is this a toy or is this a simulation? What do you say, Adam? It's pretty freaking cool, though.
It's neither.
It's a race car.
They're high performance. They're high performance race cars.
Yeah, I know we got a lot of RC fans. Do not insult the RC people. Okay. All right, let's go on. What else we got?
Buddy Baker, who has a lot of sentiment on
this is the Bobby Allison crash at Talladega, where he takes out the fence.
Bobby Allison with a horrible crash here on the front stretch.
Rest in peace, Bobby Allison, by the way. We're going to talk about that in a second. I was going through Bobby Allison. Oof! But watch when they show the fence. This is why Fran has always told you to get back from the fence. Is that it, Spencer? Oh, no. Maybe it was the other angle. Look that up. But they tear out a monster section of fence at Talladega.
Have you ever heard me talk to fans to get away from the fence, Clinton?
No.
Ever? Do you know why?
You just want some extra excitement.
Natural selection. Now, if I thought someone had mistakenly walked in and they'd never been to a racetrack and, wow, there's nobody standing here right there at the fence, I might say, you know what, excuse me, person in the white pants at a dirt track. Maybe step away from the fence. Otherwise, this is natural selection. It separates the strong from the weak. Only the strong survive. Who am I? Who am I to tell you can't stand by the fence?
It's funny because when you said, hey, lady in the white pants, because that would be a quick indicator that, oh, she's new here. We will tell you shouldn't stand there, ma'am, in your white pants. Because if you had been here before, you know white pants is not the answer. All right. Let's go. What else we got? Oh! Okay, so this brings up a lot of questions for me. We're going to watch this a few times. Okay, I watched this a bunch. I can't figure it out. Okay, so are the bicyclists on a bike race, at which point this road should have been blocked off so he didn't get run over, or are these just ignorant cyclists just cutting the corner expecting the traffic to see 80 of them making a hairpin turn at the last minute? So play it a couple more times. And you tell me, Adam, is this? Should the road have been blocked off and that car not had access to it? There's another one.
Spencer, can you play that in slow motion right from the start? I want to know, what in God's name were the cyclists looking at? They had to have been riding direct. Look at, when you're pointing that direction, you don't see a car speeding in your direction?
They stop right there, but that's what I'm saying, Adam. So were they in the middle of like a race where this should have been blocked off? Because the ignorance of that guy tells me he was not expecting a car anywhere in his vicinity for an hour or so.
And I don't know, again, natural selection. Clint, if I'm heading to the buffet and like there's a little kid between me and the bread pudding that I want. Sorry, kid. Okay. Today's not your day.
Again. Play it again, Spencer, and then stop at the same spot you did if you can. Okay, now look at, just to the right of this, that's a cruiser. And just beside that is another cruiser if you let it play. So there's cops all around. I gotta think somebody missed the traffic blocking assignment. Look at that front wheel. Look, there's one cruiser, two cruisers just parked there. So, and the other side's coned off. So maybe they coned off the wrong road. I don't know.
We can laugh now because nobody was seriously hurt.
Only a front tire. All right, let's go. These are things I see at 3 in the morning. Oh. You know what that is?
Crash landing?
Yeah. Seriously, though, you know what that's about? Okay, stop that, Spencer. Come back to us for a second. They had to delay the NHRA race this weekend because a plane crashed into the campground behind the main grandstand, and this is the aftermath. So play it, Spencer, and play that in slow motion if you can. The plane's destroyed on the ground. The top of the truck is cut off. Play that one. So there you see the plane right in the middle of all the campground. right? Crashed right in the middle of buses. And then when it swings over, you look at the dually truck, and the whole greenhouse is taken off of it, that it looked like it bounced off of it.
Now,
So that's
did
like
they
a Cessna.
survive?
No one was hurt or minor injuries. Look at the top of the truck's gone. Yeah,
Wow.
3 people were hurt, minor injuries, nothing life or critical, nothing life-threatening or critical. Man, lucky day at the races. Lucky day. Apparently, the runway's right behind where they were, and I don't know, man. Crazy deal. What else we got, Spence? Oh, now this is the backyard. Nothing wrong with this setup. Look at the lighting's beautiful, the track's prep beautiful, the racing looks good. The tree's a little close to the track for me, but this looks like a blast.
That tree is very close.
Same at the other end, too. And see, this tree right here they just passed, that one's got foam blocks. Watch the other tree. They just marked it with tape. Big one right off the end there. Don't just turn left or right on that one. But those guys who are living their off season right, whoever you are, we appreciate it. What else we got? We got a discussion about Steve Letarte playoffs. You want to talk about that? Or are we done with that? We're done with that.
Actually, Gary Calling made a good point. There's none of those cyclists were wearing bibs. They don't have numbers on.
Interesting. We'll never know. But, all right, let's play the Steve Letarte video for shits and giggles on our way out.
Now I'm going to give you the Steve Letarte playoffs. You ready?
All right, let's see it.
You win a race, you're in the playoffs. I don't care about points. I'm not even going to count them. I'll count them for the guys that don't make the playoffs. You win and you're in. Okay. We may have 6, we may have 16. I'm not even going to set a number. Mm-hmm. The playoffs are only winners. If you don't win, I don't care how many points you score, you go home. Thank you. Winning is what matters. That's what people cheer on. Victory lane should be the best. So for 26 weeks, you have to win a race.
What do you think, Adam?
I like it.
But then I guess at some point you're going to have to go back to those last 10 races. You're going to have to do points races. Or some kind of elimination. I guess you can do elimination. I don't love the elimination. I would much rather see a best of 3 or something like that. Or points. I don't know, man. I just don't love it that the one guy who had a lucky setup on the last race gets to be crowned the champion when he could have very easily been the 4th place guy out of those 4th place. Yeah, let me rephrase it. He could be the 4th most deserving driver and still win the championship. And I kind of feel we had that this year.
Well, Joey Logano was eliminated. Joey Logano is the only champion in NASCAR history to have ever been eliminated from the playoffs and won the championship.
Yeah, technicality,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, granted, you have to wait until all technical procedures and stuff are done, but
he was eliminated for a few hours. But yeah, I don't think they're going to change it. They got the excitement. What's the biggest thing they've got? Here we are, still talking about it a week and a bit later. They're getting exactly what they want out of this, whether we love this deal or not. We're all talking about it.
And every sport is doing, even college football, finally is fixing what's been wrong with it, right? So
I'm dying for the top 12. Actually, the rankings come out when we're on the air every week. So the first thing I do now is go look at the college football rankings. I'm loving the undefeated teams. Can Oregon, just like it was great to watch Kansas City. Whether you're a Bills fan or Kansas City, it's great to see them. Can they stay undefeated? It's a great storyline. But, we're getting close to it. Yes, the Ush Weekend Banquet will be live this Friday. I don't know what time. Spencer, any idea? Maybe we come on at 8 o'clock and just give you a standing shot till we're ready. Yeah.
All I can tell you is if there is no Waldorf and Stadler costume for Greg Calden and I to be up in the balcony, I'm going to storm out.
Don't bother coming because you are Waldorf and Stadler. Just bring an old shitty polyester suit and you'll be there.
The fact that we don't announce from up in the balcony looking down over the crowd is just ridiculous to me. Like it's such an oversight. In fact, is the complaint department open? Because I'm going to write.
Don't get us started right now, because it's dick punch time this week for you again. I will not tolerate any talk back till Saturday morning, or I might just throw my shit off and leave. I'm out of here.
Isn't it awesome that you don't have to deal with me before the banquet anymore?
Kind is. Abby flying the drone indoors, that's always like a dinner decision. We kind of flip a coin at dinner. Do we want to break a chandelier? Do we want to get thrown into Carmen's forever? Yeah, we're probably going to do it. Abby's coming. And if you ask Abby, he's like, yeah, I'm flying. Of course I'm flying. He didn't come for the food. He comes to fly. Appreciate everybody stopping by, everybody commenting, plus our guests, of course. It's always good to have Daryl, Dan, and the Lapcevich boys stopping by. We are going to follow up with you, Mr. Arts. We are going to get Noah Gregson on the show because we have that kind of clout now to call on our friends. Hey, John, think you can get Noah for us? That's my reference because John is 6'7", 6'9", 6'13", I don't know. Man, you guys stand beside me on the front stretch. I didn't know whether I felt bullied or protected. But, yeah, we appreciate you guys coming in and have some fun with us, too. We don't always feel like it, we'll be honest with you. I wasn't feeling like talking racing at 7:30 today, but I feel great now. So I appreciate everybody being here with us. Even you, Adam.
It's like going to the gym. We don't always look forward to it, but you rarely regret it.
It's a great way to put it. All right, I'll see you in a couple days for your dick punch. Spencer, we'll see you in a couple days for everything you do. Appreciate it. See you guys later.